Welcome back to the Tony Montana channel. Today we are going to review and talk about dog nutrition. In our societies today, we have several options to feed our dogs, different methods of feeding our dogs. The first one and more simple, and it goes back to generations and generations of human and animal interaction, is the feeding of leftovers to our dogs. In many countries, this is still being practiced. Whatever is left over is put into the dog's plate. Whatever is left over, meaning whatever is left over from the family's dinner, is put into a plate for the dog, and the dog finishes eats it all. Or if there was bones involved, there's obviously fat or skin from the meat, from the chicken, all that will go into that. Obviously, you have to be careful with that type of feeding because it really depends on if you're, what you're eating. If that's a balanced diet, or are you eating something fatty and you're becoming making your dog fat because that's what's left over, more fat. You also have the option of kibbles. In that option of kibbles, you have sub options. There's different levels of kibble quality, and you should always be looking for the best quality. I have a video that helps you learn how to read a kibble bag, so you're not confused or misled by the pretty bags, the shiny bags, or the words in front of the bag, such as premium, high quality, etc. So if you're interested in learning more about kibble, go into my channel and find that out. Then you have people that want to feed raw or barf. I think that you need, unless you are a nutritionist or unless you have studied this and you are just doing this for a number of years, I believe that you have a chance to first learn through the internet. There's a lot of information in the internet before you actually do it. And there's other ways of doing it if you're still gung ho on doing raw, and the dogs that you're going to feed are going to be exercise and be considered conditioned or exercise animals. Now let's review the option of feeding kibble and the sub options there are in the kibble qualities and levels to feeding your dog. As I said, there's different levels of kibble. You're always looking for kibbles that do not have grains like corn or other type of grain in the first ingredient list. Like again, the ingredient list is sorted by amount of that ingredient in the product. So the number one ingredient will have the most content in that kibble, in that nugget. So make sure that the protein base or the protein, which should be the first two ingredients, two, three ingredients, protein, because you want mostly protein in that kibble. So you need to make sure that it's a meal, not a regular animal. For example, chicken. You will be looking for chicken meal rather than chicken, or beef meal rather than just beef. And again, go to that other audio video about kibble, and that'll explain why. Um, that really will be a. I would say I recommend that for most people. Most people that have couch dogs, I would recommend you get the highest quality dog kibble you can get, and leave it at that. If your dog it's walking around, you take them out to around the yard or around the neighborhood and back, and that's the lifestyle he has. And in the house, a quality kibble is enough, it's sufficient for your living, and your dog will love it because they make those things nice and tasty. And obviously, you can always supplement with little things here and there, either leftovers. If you give them leftovers, obviously you reduce the amount of kibble you'll give them so you don't get them fat. So I recommend that for most people that have pets, and the pets are not dogs that are working or exercising 4 hours through the week. So yeah, so let's go to the next one. I want to cover quickly the first option that I mentioned, which is feeding your dog leftovers. Really, the answer to that, if that's a quality diet for an animal, really, first it requires the question or being answered: is that a good diet for you? What are you eating? What are you eating that you left leaving? What's your leftovers? Oh, if you're eating McDonald's and you're giving them pieces of the leftover burgers or chicken nuggets and fries, it's not the same as I guess a Hispanic dinner with rice and beans and plátanos and chicken or steak. It's completely different. So it really depends on what the dog is doing. Again, if the dog is just being a couch dog and going around, it might be enough. Your eye should always be looking at the dog and seeing, hey, how is it looking? Is the dog energetic? Has it lost energy? Is it lethargic? If that's happening, then the first thing you have to do is review the quality of food you're giving them and the amount. Obviously, do the check, check the skin, up, from between the shoulder blades, to see how quickly it goes back to make sure that the dog is not dehydrated, and that may be part of the issue. Look at the dog's gums. Make sure the gums are nice and pink or reddish pink. Um, and look at the eyes. Make sure the eyes, the white part is fine, and see how he's breathing and all that. So uh, basically, just keep an eye on the things that you need to keep doing as a responsible dog owner. That's why I recommend that people feed quality kibble. Most of you just feed quality kibble. Um, Unless you live in a country that I guess doesn't really is up to par with the United States and other countries in the level of kibble you want to feed your dog. Perhaps it's just lack of education of the country, and they're selling all the options for kibble is corn-based kibble or some sort of grain-based kibble. Then I definitely say, hey, perhaps leftovers is a better alternative. Perhaps you guys need to buy more food for yourselves, so there's more leftover for the dog. If you're in that type of situation, that in a third world country or a country that really hasn't brought up quality of food for dogs regarding to the kibble. And obviously, if you could buy chickens, live chickens, I would recommend actually rabbits. I think rabbits may reproduce faster and have more rabbits, and you just have to have a lot of cages so that I don't know, but hey, that's an idea for you guys that live out there. If you decide to start feeding raw, because that's really seems to be a really umbrella term, or like the barf, the terminology barf. Um, if you start to really consider that type of diet for your dog or dogs, and you are new to this diet thing, I go back to the same question: what's the activity level of your dog? What's the activity level and what's the energy level of your dog? It really depends on that. What you need to do for your dog in terms of eating options. If your dog is a dog that you enjoy taking them out at least a few hours a week, say hours a week, this dog and the dog, whenever it's out, it's actually working. If it's 2 hours that day or 3 hours that day, and the dog is always forward, never next to you, then you have to be able to give the dog food in the levels and in enough of the ingredients for the dog to recover quick enough or well enough for the next time you're looking to do the same thing or same exercise with the dog. Obviously, that type of uh, that is I'm touching conditioning here, and this is not the video for that. We're talking about condition. I mean the nutrition, but obviously nutrition is a Siamese twin to conditioning. Conditioning and nutrition are Siamese twins. The Siamese relationship states that the body cannot condition itself to its peak without peak nutrition. And if you're going to give your dog a conditioning life, a life of working out, then you have to do more than just give him some bone, some raw meat, and a capsule of oils here and there. If the dog is going to be living a life of routine conditioning, depending again, or we go back to the depending on how much of it, but if you're going to say, let's use the word keep as a reference point, as a reference word. If you're going to put him through a keep, and why would you put him through a keep? We as humans put ourselves through a season of working out, or at least I guess a lot of us do have time through the year that we are working out. We have a routine of working out, and then we stop, and then we give ourselves a rest, perhaps in the summer to enjoy the summer like beaches and whatnot, and going out, showing off, and then go once we fall and winter and spring come. That's our routine to work out and get bulked and whatnot, get in shape for the summer. And same with the dogs. Dogs being our part of our lives. Perhaps you have that life. Perhaps you have that life with your dogs, and if in that case I'm assuming you're giving yourself some supplements, you're taking care of yourself. Obviously, um, I'm thinking if you're like me, obviously you understand that the dogs require more than you. So they are the base to your conditioning workout, and so they have to basically uh, eat well and have a well balanced diet, because depending on what type of workout you're doing, you might be and depending on how your dog reacts to the workout, the dog's body nutritionally wise, how those nutritional usage uh, in the body through conditioning, how that reacts, then you have to be able to identify what's, oh, this dog needs more of that or this, or more, this dog seems to be needing more supplement or that. If you don't know that part, this is what I recommend. I recommend that before, or not before, but obviously you already have your dog and you're looking to do this now, not in 10 years. So if you're going to do that, then you need to work with like a vet place. What do you need to do? If you're learning how to do this from scratch, first you need to read that information is in the internet. What is required, what are the nutritional requirements. See, that is something that you need to learn, like, three to one ratio, for example. You need to know this. If you're going to be doing this with your dog, and your dog is an athletic dog, your dogs are athletic dogs that condition themselves, or condition them uh, or on a regular basis, and so you want them to look and act to the best, then you need to work with a vet. If you don't know if you don't know about nutrition, and you still want to do this, what do I mean? Work with a vet. Well, you need to take yourself, for example, and this is fun because I did this many years ago. I did this. I'm giving you what I did many years ago, decades. I did this when I was doing raw because I wanted to feed my dogs raw. But I understood what I'm just telling you now, that you have to be responsible. If you're gonna give raw, still needs to be a balanced diet, and that balanced diet doesn't mean it's a balance. One specific type of thing is balanced for all dogs. No, each dog has different dietary requirements, different balances. So you need to be keep an eye on that. So make sure that you keep an eye, learn this through your vet. How? Well, make believe you're going. This is a fun exercise. I enjoyed it with my dog. The times that I did it, until I was able to recognize, he needs this, he needs that, or he's getting hot because this is too much, or I'm feeding them, or whatever. Getting hot obviously means that eh, the dog gets fatigued, eh, panting to a point that the body doesn't react properly to whatever we're doing. So what I mean is, do it, keep with your dogs. And again, I'm using this word as a term the American People Terrier community knows and identifies with. And it does not mean it's a prelude to a crime. People that they say, "Oh my God, he said keep. That's a key word. My God." Oh no, I'm not saying keep as a bad word. No, it's a historical term that means that it's a conditioning phase, and so I'm using it because it's relevant to this. So put them in the keep, put your dog in the keep, and through the time, go like I guess at the beginning before you do your once you're done your pre-keep, and you say, okay, the dog is ready. Uh, See where your balances are. You go into the vet and you do a blood work and urine analysis. That will help you, and I'll explain why. Let me start with that. Let me explain to you how the blood work and the urine analysis helps. Let's start with what about the blood work? Why blood work? Okay, blood work. Again, you're going to do this type of blood work at least 3 times through the keep. 3 or 4 times, depending on how meticulous. Obviously, the beginning, somewhere in the middle. I would say two in the middle. Spread it out through the keep time, and one at the end. Obviously, the result. What was the dog's levels at its peak at its time that it was ready it, to be confirmationally shown. Or to I don't know, weight pulling, but now more like confirmationally shown, because weight pulling requires more just strength than other things to be, but more confirmational shown. So uh, you have to see what the levels were. So what about blood work? What about blood work? Okay, when you do the blood work, that blood work will review the complete blood count of that dog at that moment. So and you can that would mean the, how the body is after being fed and after being conditioned and all that. Where is the body at that moment? Okay, so it's kind of like going to the repair shop and checking and getting a routine check, and finding out, oh, this or that about the car, where the conditioning of the car from taking care of it and using it. So same thing. So when you do this blood work, it's actually counting, the red and white blood cells in the dog, as an example. So increase or elevation of one or the other will will be indicators of that something may be wrong. Obviously, there's other things you can look into, or other things you can learn from blood work, like glucose levels. They give you a chart there. It's like when you get the paperwork, you'll see those levels, and you'll see the also give you like a chart of what is the expected ranges. So again, it will be glucose levels, protein levels, electrolytes, where's the cholesterol level of that dog, the digestive enzymes, these are things that you learn from reviewing this blood work, and this will give you an understanding of how your nutritional uh, part of the diet you're building up, you're creating for your dog, how it's how it's faring, how it's faring in action, not just that it's a dog that's sleeping in the couch, but a dog that's actually working the way you want it to work. Running, spring pool, foot pool, uh, anything else you think of, swimming, and requirements like that. How is that body keeping up thanks to the nutritional balance that you're creating? So if you're looking to do a raw diet for your dog, a raw or barf diet for your dog, then this is part of the process. This is a part of the process. Again, if you're going to have a dog or dogs that are active dogs, and you want them to look and feel great. The urine analysis can be used as a supplemental test, especially when you're beginning, you're learning, and you have accepted this is going to be part of your life. Because I don't recommend it otherwise. If you're looking to have a pet, and like I said, it's a couch dog, and that's it, and you're just looking to feed it, yeah, feed it whatever, and it'll be okay. Because the it's not the requirements aren't for the dog aren't that great. So when people tell you in other videos, just give it some meat and a bone and like a quarter chicken as an example, just give it a quarter chicken and a capsule of oils, and that's it. If you're going to have a couch dog, yes, I agree. Thank you very much, and that's the video for you. But if you're looking for a dog and you have dogs that are more active, this is the video for you, the one that I'm giving you, because I'm and this is the video for people that are looking, saying yes, I want to do this, but I'm not sure how. Well, I'm giving you a guidance on how to start and how to build yourself up and towards the right path to being a responsible American Pit Terrier owner of dogs that are active, that are conditioned, that look great, and act even better. So again, the urine analysis is a supplemental test that I say at least at the beginning, at least for the first few tests that you do with your dogs, uh, um, it's because it's important. One of the things that the urine analysis reviews is the kidneys, and a lot of times when you're conditioning a dog and you're watching and being careful with the food, the kidneys and the water, the kidneys are the ones that are stressed, and obviously you don't want to mess with the kidneys. So um, it will review like will review a lot of things that it will test for a lot of things that the blood work does as well. But again, it brings a little extra to it. It reviews also the coloration of the urine. If there's any cloudiness in the urine, see how the density of the urine, the pH of the urine, things that you can, later on detect when you learn and say, okay, you, this is part of your education as a dog owner of this type of dogs and the way you want to have them. So I, again, recommend a blood work and urine analysis through your keep. Again, a keep, and you stop and do it again, and also test it in different times of the year. That way you see how, because it's not the same you conditioning a dog in the spring or the winter, the middle of the winter. It's not the same as end of the spring versus the middle of the winter. So the body will react different. The body will require different quantities of food in different ratios than if you were doing the same thing close to the summer versus the middle of the winter. So I hope this has helped you. I hope this has made you think about nutrition in a different way, or expand your thoughts about nutrition, your interest about nutrition. And hey, you know, if you make a video, I would love to watch your video on nutrition. So until next time, this is Tony Montana. Say hello to your little friend.